Thank you so much for attending my presentation about the weirdest Pokemon format ever, and first you need some context. VGC rule sets work through regulations. For example, in Regulation C, the third format of Scarlet and Violet, regular Pokemon in those two games, Paradox Pokemon and Ruinous Pokemon, were all legal. But in the next format, Regulation D, we got to use all the stuff from Pokemon Home plus legendaries like Landorus. This continues with most regulations adding new stuff to use. So far, we've gotten to Reg I, a double restricted format. But from here, where VGC would go was up in the air. Normally by this time, the new game is either on the horizon or already out, and Double Restricted closes things down, but here we don't even have an announcement. So with Reg I stopping at the end of August, what would we be playing? Well, that's where this new format comes in, Regulation J, which lets you use mythicals. The thing is, though, mythicals being legal poses a few problems. First of all, since mythicals all count as restricted Pokemon, many of them are going to be terrible. There isn't really a good reason to use these guys when Miraidon or Calyrex Shadow exists. Volcanion is a really good example of this. In theory, it doesn't look terrible. Water Fire is a pretty cute typing and completely unique, and when compared with the Urshifu Rapid Stopping Water Absorb and great attacking stats, it seems strong. Well, it kinda falls off when it takes up one of these super powerful restricted slots. Pokemon like Koraidon and Kyogre, while obviously a little different, outclass it hard. Why would you use Volcanion when you could just run one of these monsters? There's a lot of guys like this. Over half just won't see any real play for this reason. Mew, Jirachi, Deoxys Defense and Speed, Fione, Manaphy, both Shaymins, Keldeo, Meloetta, Hoopie Confined, and fucking Sarude will all really struggle, and so many of the others are just barely going to carve out places. Something like Deontay probably isn't going to be unusable. It has good defenses and a strong typing plus usable attacking stats, but honestly, outside of clicking pretty strong Diamond Storms, it's not doing that much and will be niche at best. This is the issue with Mythicals. Aside from a few crazy ones, they're going to have a tiny spot. Speaking of the few crazy ones, who are we looking at? Well, Arceus is gearing up to be really fucking broken. E-Killer Arceus is E-Killer Arceus. Stat boosted extreme speed off of 120 attack and the possibility of Terra is predictably really good and will absolutely tear stuff apart, especially if you pair it with something like Chen Pao. Oh, hey, and that pure normal type is looking kinda nice with Calyrex Shadow galloping through VGC right now. And its one weakness is honestly pretty manageable. Koraidon and Urshifu are annoying, but extreme speed threatens straight up Okos with POW, so who fucking cares? Other plays are also going to be great though. Need a Pokemon with a specific type? Arceus can do the job, clicking strong judgments and also doing a bunch of other generally good stuff. You could do setup with Calm Mind, support with Will-O-Wisp and Ton, or even just pure damage with a bunch of coverage. Honestly, the world is your oyster, and as the format develops, its options will only grow. Magearna is also a problem, although not as strong. Soul Heart gives its special attack a boost when any Pokemon dies at all, including your partner, and since it's slow, it's perfect for Trick Room. Pairing it with a final Gambit Pokemon, for example, could be cute, trading a strong threat off the field and setting your own threat up with a +2 boost at the same time. Then with the speed advantage, you can click the 130 base power Fleur Cannon or go more conservative with Flash Cannon or Dazzling Gleam. For good measure, it's also got the best typing in the game and strong defenses. Have fun. There's some other solid stuff too, but it's all clearly behind these two. Deoxys Attack and Normal are going to be powerful on size spam, just kinda clicking the biggest, strongest, fastest expanding force in the game, but gets owned by Priority or Wide Guard. Pecharunt is seeing a little play on Dondozo teams, fucking gross, but is really niche and will mostly just be an annoying asshole. Darkrai's Dark Void is in a similar camp, being just 60% accurate but putting anything to sleep. With a few good dice rolls, you can just win the game on the spot. Personally, I'm really excited to click this button in Las Vegas this year. Well, I would be excited if this wasn't the most confusing format implementation of all time. It turns out that Regulation J is only going to be used for the cartridge ladder, and we're actually going back to Regulation H for in-person tournaments. Oh, so problem solved. Sure, the Mythicals format is going to be insane, but if it's too crazy, you can just not play cartridge ladder and focus on Regulation H. But this introduces another problem that there unfortunately isn't a great solution for. The in-game ladder, for all of its flaws, is a great way to get practice for events. Showdown is awesome, but there is a part of the game that you honestly don't get to see on there. Animations taking a long time, the battle timer differences, the lack of percentages, and the way the health bar looks, it just takes getting used to. But now you can't practice your tournament teams games on ladder, forcing you to do tournaments or carve out time with someone else just to get cart sets. This really sucks. There's plenty of people that just don't have the time to be entering a whole ass tour, which can take upwards of 5 hours. There's plenty of people who get home from work or school and just have a little time to play a few cart games, and now doing that is going to be way more difficult. Plus, we don't even know what the online GC tournaments are going to look like. Will they be Reg J or Reg H? We still don't know, but if it's the former, then players are going to be expected to follow two separate, very different metagames just to have a chance to qualify for Worlds. All around, it's really scuffed and has some drawbacks to say the least. In conclusion, the new VGC format is a mess. Mythicals are going to be weird, but with so many of them being bad, the impact will be smaller than expected, except for a few really crazy ones. However, the big issue is how it affects cartridge practice for tournaments, as it eliminates the main way many people grind the game, which is really unfortunate. Thank you so much for watching.